What's the number one challenge for businesses today?
Workforce development, attracting, recruiting, and retaining people.
And that's why we created this podcast, designed for the frustrated CEO, the under-resourced recruiter, or the overworked manager, to give you the tools to tackle those WTF moments.
It's time to open another workforce therapy file.
Welcome to the Workforce Therapy Files. This is the Kentucky SHRM 2025 edition, and I have with me here Jeremy Jacobs, founder of UnDesked. Jeremy, what's up, bro?
Hey, having a great time, Jason, here at the Kentucky SHRM. You know, we're fortunate in Kentucky to have the SHRM we do. A lot of states are jealous.
Yep.
I know the Chamber plays a big part in that, so excited to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks. So this is just a quick mini podcast.
Awesome.
We could have you on for a bigger, longer version maybe at some point. But what I want to get to right now is, what are you promoting? What is UnDesked? I know what it is, but
Sure.
tell me about UnDesked, how it came about, why it's important.
So for office workers, the day you start your job, you get handed a laptop. It has Microsoft Teams, Office 365, and you have the resources to be able to interact with your supervisors, do your job, do trainings, onboardings, upload your I-9, get access to, resources you need for your job and communicate, through Teams and so forth. But for 80% of the global population in the workforce, 2.7 billion people, they have jobs where they're undesked or they're deskless. They're frontline workers and they don't have access to a dedicated computer. And so there's challenges from onboarding to training to daily job assignments to getting them access to the resources to put in a near miss or put in a maintenance request or sign up for a company picnic, all these sort of things. And so UnDesked is the only frontline productivity platform. So you sort of think of us like Office 365, but for undesked workers. We're sort of like Frontline 365.
Okay. What's the ideal target for you? What's the ideal client?
So when you think of the frontline workers and when you think of undesked people, I divide them into two categories. So the first category is going to be people that are in safe environments. That's your retail workers, your hospitality workers, your food service workers. They don't have access to a laptop and Teams and all that, but nobody's losing their finger at work, right? Then there's the less safe environments. That's going to be your manufacturing companies, your construction companies, your utility companies, oil and gas, mining, these sorts of things where the stakes are a little bit higher. And those are generally the companies that we have the most benefits for because they're the ones with the most to lose.
Okay, gotcha. And so is there an organization that's too small for UnDesked or too large for UnDesked, or does it fit? Is it a one-size-fits-all?
Yeah, so, I would say you got to be big enough to have problems, right? Ones that functional systems can solve. So if you're under 25 people, your problems are not the lack of functional systems, right? There's different sort of problems you have. So, typically the smallest client we see is around 50. Recently, a cleaning service that only has about 25 signed up with us because they need to be able to issue job assignments to all these workers that are cleaning offices. As far as scale, some of our biggest clients like Berry Global, which is now part of Amcor, there's literally, 100,000+ employees, 600 facilities or something like that, and they use our stuff every day.
So as far as the cost, I know it's probably customizable depending on the organization, but is this the kind of cost that's going to, am I going to be able to maybe not hire a person to manage this stuff, or is it maybe more efficiency? How do you describe it when somebody says, why I'm almost there, Jeremy, but why do I need to do this? How much is this going to take me back?
There's two costs. One is the financial cost, right? And so, what do we charge for software? And our first year is only $5 per employee per month. You can't even get an email that cheap from Microsoft. So we're cheaper than email, but we're an entire complete platform with communications, messaging, job assignments, and all those sort of things. And so it's an entire platform for $5 for the first year per employee. Then there's the human capital cost, right? Like what you were alluding to. Am I going to have to hire workers to manage this? Because, a lot of times people think of the nightmare of the ERP, right? I'm in the middle of an ERP rollout. Well, you're always going to be in the middle of an ERP rollout once you start one. That's just how life is. Anybody told you a different lie to you? And so is it that way? No. Like our clients, if they want to hire an in-house implementation specialist, they're more than welcome to. But in most cases, they lean on our onboarding team and our support team, and you end up with champions within the business that learn the tool. It's a very easy to use tool. You can normally be actually up and rolling in creating workflows and communicating with workers within a week. So this is not like an ERP system where you spend a half a year planning, a half a year implementing, and then a half a year working the bugs out, and then it's turned on.
Yeah.
This can, right out of the gate, within a week you're using it. And each week you add more functionality and add more and add more.
I was going to ask about that. So it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be many things, or it can just serve one purpose, whatever kind of you need.
Yeah, a lot of companies end up within a year eliminating about 7 other pieces of software. They don't need text messaging anymore. They don't need digital signage software. They don't need visitor management software. They don't need safety software anymore. They don't need maintenance software or, asset management software. These things sort of fall to the wayside, and they're all encapsulated in one place.
Okay, awesome. Hey, here at the conference, I'm doing something where I ask every guest to give me a question you want the next guest to answer. So you've got a question coming to you, then you're going to give me a question for the next guest.
Oh, let's hear that question.
All right, so the question is from Rusty. Rusty's dressed as the Incredible Hulk. You may have seen him
so I'm going to answer the Hulk's
You're going to answer the Hulk's. And
the doctor is going to answer the Hulk's
Jeremy's dressed.
questions.
He's got a white coat on for those who are just listening. All right, so his question is, what is the worst professional advice you have received in your career?
The worst? Oh, wow. That's a really interesting question. You always get the opposite
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. But we've all gotten bad advice, too.
I think, I kind of know what it is. And I got it from a lot of people. I think this is the victim thing of growing up in a small town. And, to kind of, instead of giving you one example, I'll give you sort of the average, the culmination of it, which is to just go to college and get a good job.
Yep.
Just go fall into the mold, into the system, and go do that, and your life will be great. As in a psychologically unemployable human being, an entrepreneur my entire life, had I taken that advice, my life would be very different. So I'd say that's probably the worst advice I got. And the worst part is, Jason, I got it from a lot of people.
Yeah, people you trust and love, honestly, family members.
The one I was thinking of at first, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't follow that, because I've followed your journey, and you've done some really cool shit.
Like yours too. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of same things.
So I'll put you on the spot for the next one, which is now you have to give me a question for the next guest. Anything you want to ask? Yeah.
So anything I want to ask, I would say the next guest should answer. What is that thing that keeps you up at night that's different than the things that normally keep people up at night? So what's that thing going on at work or at home, or the combination of balancing that work-life thing that keeps you up at night, that you can't stop thinking about, that puzzle you're trying to solve, that Rubik's Cube you're trying to color match?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's a good one. And it changes throughout our lives over and over. So
it does. But I'm interested in not the cookie cutter answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
can't just say, work is stressful. No, that doesn't cut it.
I won't let them off the hook.
Yeah, don't let them off.
All right. Jeremy, thanks, dude.
Jason, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
All right, Jim, close that file.
Thanks for listening to the Workforce Therapy Files. We hope you learned something new, and we're thankful for the time that you spent with us today. If there's a topic you'd like us to discuss, reach out to us. Our contact information's listed in the show notes. Until next time, keep your head up.